Well, it is February the 23rd. It is still a cold, wintry evening, and I'm joined by my delightful friend, Mary Beth Watson from East Tennessee. Mary Beth, welcome to the Raising Kellen podcast.
Hi, Marsh. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you.
Mary Beth and I met at Partners in Policy Making, which is a leadership program held through the Tennessee Council on Developmental Disabilities. And when you enter a room and you see a group of people, you automatically somehow gravitate to the people that you have the most connection with. And that's the way I feel about Mary Beth. And I've asked her on the podcast today just to share a little bit about her backstory, talk about partners in policy making, and some other facts as well. But before we get started, Mary Beth, can you kindly tell us something about yourself and your family?
I can. Yes. I'm so glad to be here. I am from East Tennessee, Sweetwater, so in between Chattanooga and Knoxville. I have a 13-year-old daughter named Ella, and Ella has an intellectual and developmental disability as well as autism. And then I have a 6-year-old son, Boyd, who is wild. But just the joy, it just brings us so much joy. And then my husband, Christopher. My daughter Ella was born at 26 weeks, premature. She spent 5 long months in the NICU where it was almost a daily roller coaster of she's going to make it and she's not going to make it. And if she does make it, she'll never do this or never do that. And she has been a little warrior, breaking all the odds from day one. So,
Mary Beth, tell us about Morning Star Ministries. And this is something that you recently became involved in, but I think it is the most amazing, just the most amazing thing. Tell us more, please.
yes. So because of my daughter, we actually in 2020, we started homeschooling. COVID kind of made us reassess what education was going to look like for Ella. Um, and so we were searching for community and fellowship opportunities to engage. And so that led us to Morning Star Ministries. And Morning Star Ministries is a day program that actually is completely free of charge to our students who are adults. But Ella and I were invited to come alongside of them because, we needed something to do and we were looking for fellowship, so why not? And it's been just this tremendous blessing to come alongside these adults who are incredible. And I actually ended up joining the board of Morningstar uh, Ministries because even though Ella and I technically showed up there to be served, it was natural and so easy to want to be of service as well. Um, so it's just been something that has blessed our lives. And then also given me, when we started coming to Morningstar, Ella was just turning 13. And so I was really thinking about transition ages and picturing in my mind what adulthood was going to look like, and that was very um, overwhelming and made me really worry and anxious. And to have found this beautiful community where um, these students have the opportunity to come together and they don't just come there and are included, but they come there and actually belong. And we get out into our community and get to explore together and meet people and have opportunity within our community, to just show the world that disability is, doesn't, it might make us a little different, but definitely not less.
I know a key idea that we looked through in our Partners for Policymaking program was, disability is viewed as a natural part of the human experience. And at some point or the other, it's something that we all experience. And but Morning Star Ministries, where is that housed? Is that housed in a church or in a community center?
Yes. So we actually own our own building. Yes, it's such a blessing. So Morningstar has actually been around for more than 20 years. It was actually started by a mother of, a daughter that needed community and needed fellowship, and she saw the need within our community. Like there was, waiting lists for these waiver programs and things like that. I don't even know if they really existed at the time. So there was really nowhere for adults with disabilities after high school to go, and no respite for these families. And so she started this ministry just looking for a place for her daughter to go and feel like she had something to look forward to every week, and friends to gather with. And so we're actually in Athens, Tennessee, and we have our own building. It's just a small little building. There's about 14 of us right now. We hope to expand, and we are completely and totally supported just by our ministry partners and the generosity of the people who come alongside our ministry mission.
For those who might be listening, how can they help support the work that you guys do at Ministries, Mary Beth?
Well, first and foremost, prayer. We can use all of the prayer. Um, but I'd like to say also that just looking around your own community and seeing the need, it wasn't, it's not hard to do because I know the need is out there because it's so great. So maybe you're in your own congregation where you are, and you know that there's a family, and maybe, they don't have employment or anything like that. And it's completely and totally up to the family, to provide every single need. Maybe they just need a break, and that would be easy to do. It's as easy as one day a week going, hey, let's open the church up and do a craft together. I mean, that's truly how this started and grew. But secondly, if you would like to explore Morningstar and who we are, we have a Facebook page as well as an Instagram page. And there we have links to how you can support us further, because it's, like I said, it's we totally rely on the generous support from our ministry partners and just people who want to see the window into belonging and what that looks like, and getting these incredibly wonderfully made human beings out into their communities and being the blessing that they are. I've never had such faithful friends as I do at Morningstar. I mean, I feel honored to have them in my life. Every single one of our students.
I know we've often talked about respite and how that at times is so desperately needed by parents. I recall you mentioning, I think, is it Mother's Retreat? Tell us, are there any resources that you could share with us when it comes to respite for parents?
Absolutely, yes. So respite is definitely one of our biggest challenges. While I have a wonderful and supportive family, my mother is a caregiver to my grandparents, and our own family is aging, so it's hard for us to even get a break. So some of the ways that we do that, I find that is there's one organization called A Mother's Rest, and they have partnered with like Airbnb. And so they host these weekends where a mother, or sometimes they even offer it to couples, or they offer it to a mother and their non-disabled child to allow for a weekend, discounted rates at all of these different places across the United States that they've partnered with. One that I have visited was in I believe it's Mount Airy, North Carolina. They have an inn over there, and I was there with about six other mothers, and it was such a blessing because your time was completely your own, and you could either stay in your room the whole time, or some of us went hiking together, dinner together, and I think it cost me $75 for 3 nights in this beautiful inn. And yes, that organization is wonderful, wonderful. Another one is Johnny and Friends. They have family getaways as well as marriage getaways, and things like that. And those are two that I've really utilized for us.
Mary Beth, we're going to kind of switch topics now and talk about some serious things that are happening on a federal and state level as far as Medicaid or proposed Medicaid changes. So my question to you would be, what's keeping you up at night right now?
Um, I mentioned earlier that when Ella and I found Morningstar, that one of my biggest concerns was the transition age, right? Um, Thinking about planning her adult life, knowing that preparing for the fact that she is going to need support forever in some capacity, living independently, she's going to have support, and thinking beyond myself. If Medicaid does not exist, or if Medicaid is even harder than it is now to access, I cannot imagine what that's going to look like. We're a one income family. The reason that I am able to stay home with my daughter and support her needs educationally and all the other ways is because of her access to Medicaid now too, So, you know, I can't even imagine what Ella's life today would look like without having Medicaid. And I can't even imagine, I don't want to imagine what her future would look like without that. And working with these adults, seeing how flawed the system already is. I mean, we have some students actually that are brothers that are already involved in a waiver program that have been waiting on a caregiver or a support person for over 2 years. Um, so m- thinking about the fact that that could be slashed or made even harder to navigate is just devastating.
It truly is. And I know we often hear, you know, we often hear the prompt to, well, contact your legislator. Um, but it is just a really difficult and a worrying time for many families like ours that experience disability, um, that really want to know what is the future for our kids when it comes to healthcare. Um, but we're going to be talking to several other moms as well, Mary Beth, to kind of get a gauge on this and also to create momentum to see what can we do as a collective to help steer this better for our kids and our families.
Absolutely.
Uh, Having said that, are there any words of encouragement that you would like to leave us with this evening, or
Mm.
just totally open to you?
Yeah. You know, through my involvement in partners in policymaking, and getting out into these disability fairs and getting involved within the disability community, meeting people like you, Marsh, these incredible people that have built these incredible platforms that are increasing. And that's really what it's about, is like, just go tell your story, the impact of your story, and make it real to the people that, you know, I say all the time that the disability community is unseen, unheard, undervalued, underestimated. But you know how we combat that? By getting out there and saying, hey, my child has inherent worth and value, and making these connections. Um, you know, Going into the room at Partners in Policy Making has been one of the most empowering things I've ever done. It led me to joining the board at Morningstar and thinking, you know what? This amazing ministry that's so small right now is something that's needed everywhere. Let's tell the world about it. Let's give, before I got there, we hadn't really leveraged the power of social media yet. And so, as I've come in, I've really been doing that. I've been building our social media presence and just like filming a window into what our mission is, and giving these incredible human beings this platform to shine bright as they are, because they have so much to contribute to their local communities and to the world, period. Like, the little nuggets of just joy and wisdom that they share, it really opens the eyes to people that maybe they've never, it breaks those barriers down. I think a lot of the things that keep people from maybe coming to know people with disabilities or things like that is because they don't know what to do or say or interact, But when we just prove and show that people with disabilities are like anyone else. They want to just belong. They want to have the opportunity to say hello, and that's really what's been my mission, is just to send that message out to the world, like, hey, these are adults that have the same exact desires that you do. They want to have friendships and job opportunities and a place to get together with their friends and play games and go to the YMCA and exercise. And so yeah, I think that just putting yourself out there, I know that it can be scary, but it's the most powerful thing that you can do to like wake the world up to your potential.
What an awesome, I just love this conversation with you, Mary Beth, and thank you so much for joining us tonight. Um, just wishing you best moving forward with Partners in Policy Making, with Morningstar Ministries, and with your family as well. Again, thank you for your time.
Oh, Marsh, thank you. Thank you.